So, have you ever looked at your bank account and thought, I have too much money? Never? No? Well, let me tell you a story. When I was 12 years old, I stood up on stage, and my mom stood in the background playing the piano. I stood up on stage in Fruingen Centrum in a talent show, and I sang, "Some say love, it is a river." I didn't win, but then and there, I decided I wanted to become a singer because I love the way I can move people and touch people from the stage. Even if I was nervous, I still did it. And so I became an artist, a singing artist. And through the years, I've released albums and singles. But when, actually 7 years ago, I thought to myself, I realized that I just love seeing people's eyes and the little diamonds that forms in people's eyes when they grow, when they develop, when something happens. And I just wanted to know how I can inspire them to grow. So then and there, 7 years ago, I decided I wanted to become a speaker too. And I did. And 3 years ago, I actually had a dream about speaking outside of my own country. And last year, I was in 14 countries. And this year, I'm aiming for 30 to inspire even more people to be their best and be themselves, be authentic, and stand out, and dare to stand out, and think big with confidence. So I'm going to talk about 3 keys on how to stand out and be remembered, because it's an ocean of people out there. And the first key is face your fears. I heard a couple of speakers already talk about fear today, but I really love that topic because everybody has fears. We're all in this together, right? So we all have fears, and the fear starts in our brain, in the amygdala and hypothalamus. And it's a protection system. It protects us from petting tigers and swimming with sharks and dating burglars and stuff like that. So it's a really good protection system. I love you. That protection system is good. But it's not good when we want to do stuff. It's not good when we want to change stuff and live outside our comfort zone. That's when we need to handle our fear. So imagine being unstoppable. Imagine being totally fearless. Is it possible? In some point, yes. I'm going to come back to fear, but I'm going to talk about the second key, that is authenticity. And I really love that word. Authenticity is the greatest word on earth, because if you're authentically 100% you, nobody can tell you you're doing it the wrong way. Right? So let me tell you a story about authenticity. Let me tell you a story where I took a leap and really flew into authenticity and where I'm living today. So all my life, I've been trying to fit in, like most of you have. And they told me to get an education, get a job, and so I did. I became a teacher. And after 1 week of being a teacher, after 3.5 years of education, I thought to myself, well, it is a good job, but I'm meant for something more. And 7 years ago, when I told my friends I wanted to become a speaker, I was so excited. I'm going to become a speaker. This is so great. I'm going to change my life, and I'm going to change people's lives. This is so great. And everybody answered with the same answer. And they said, and I quote, "Wow, that's exciting. Well, you can always go back to being a teacher." Yes. I gave them a smile and I said, yeah, sure, I could do that. But inside, I was smiling and dancing, and I said, never. I'm never going back. Because if I had listened to them, then and there, I would have never been where I am today. I would have never been living my authentic life the way I want to if I had listened to their fear. And it was their fear, and that's okay. It's okay to have fear. But if you listen to other people's fear, you will get nowhere. So the next step is all about the base. It's all about them. It's all about the value you bring to other people. It's all about the value. It's about having a value-based business. Let me dig a bit deeper. Millions of years ago, we developed in our brains something we call the reptilian brain, the reptile brain. And what the reptile brain does is, it's based right here in the back. What the reptile brain does, it kicks in when you're really stressed. And that's when the fight, flight, or freeze mode kicks in. It also kicks in when you're, have you ever been really hungry and then met someone who said something and that ticks you off right there? Anybody met that person? Anybody is that person? Yeah. I think we've all been there. And the next thing is actually when you spot a gorgeous person in the crowd and you just want to do like this and just run over and rip the clothes out of that person and say, let's make it baby. When you're in that state, can you think of anything else? When you're in that state, can you make good decisions? When you're in that state, are you full of great ideas? Probably not. Is the reptilian brain talking? Millions of years later, we developed something we called the limbic system, the limbic brain. And the limbic brain, it restores all of our emotions, all of our feelings. It restores all of our memories, and it's where we make all our decisions. Where we make all our decisions in the limbic system, the feely system. And later we developed something in Latin we call the neocortex. It's right up here. So the reptile brain is here, the limbic system is here, and the neocortex, it goes right over the top here. And the neocortex is where we have our logical thinking, is where we think logically. It's where we have our IQ. It's where the smarty pants of us is. So that's where the smarty pants is. But who do you think here is the boss? What system? Shout it out. What system do you think is the boss? It's the reptilian brain. Because when the reptilian brain kicks in, when you're stressed, when you're hangry, or when you want to make a baby, it's the limbic system and the neocortex, they're out. Because this is the only thing you can think of right now when you're in that system, when it kicks in. But the limbic system is also the boss over the neocortex. That means the emotions that you have is the boss over the logical thinking. It's the boss over the emotion is the boss over the IQ. So when you want to do a presentation or when you want to talk to a person who's really important to you, maybe a customer or client, in what system do you think is the best to be in? Just shout it out. Shout it out. Don't be scared. Yes, limbic system. Because that's where we make all our... Oh my God, you have so much energy. Decisions, yes, exactly. So how do we use that system? Well, one thing is that we can use it by storytelling. So let me tell you a little story about my grandpa and grandma. They have been married for over 60 years, and they only loved each other. And 2 years before my grandfather passed away, 2 years before he passed away, he got Alzheimer's and forgot about everyone and everything. And 2 days before he died, He was in the hospice, and my grandmother came into his room. She sat down by his bed, and she put her hand like this, and he put his hand in hers. And remember, she was forgotten by him, his wife of 60 years. But then he leaned over and whispered in her ear, and she whispered, "I love you." So why am I telling you this? What has this got to do with business? Well, it's all about remembering who you are. It's all about remembering who you are and who you want to be. This story is following me everywhere I go, because this story makes me want to be authentic to myself and to others everywhere I go and whatever I do in my business and in my life. It makes me want to be fearless. It makes me want to be unstoppable. And I hope that you can too feel unstoppable, because there's no limit of where you can go if you think big with confidence. Think big with confidence. And if there's only one thing that you take from this presentation today, I want it to be this: think big with confidence. Thank you.